Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews. I'm Horrorboy465, aka Nate Murphy, the Explorer for here. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today talking about Halloween 4 Return of Michael Myers, which came out in 1988, gets a 5.9 on IMDb. Of course, this came out on the 10-year anniversary of the original Halloween. And it took quite a while for it to get made. From Halloween 3 to this, let's see now. So Halloween 3 came out in 1982. This came out in 1988, so it took a while to get to this film. It took about 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. It took about 6 years to get to the sequel. Now, of course, this is a double pack with Halloween 5, which it's a weird movie because I don't like Halloween 5. It has a lot of problems. But there are still things I like about it. There's still things I think that are decent about it. But I think overall the movie is pretty garbage. Well, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, which I'll talk about probably a little bit later on tonight. But yeah, Halloween 4 though, which I just open up the case because you got two different DVDs. But Halloween 4 is a film that I grew up watching this movie a lot. VHS, DVD. When I bought this DVD, I watched a lot. I'd say that this and Halloween 2 are the ones I watched a lot growing up. But I do remember watching Halloween 4 a lot. Like, this was one of those Halloween films that I used to watch all the time, along with Halloween 2. But I used to watch Halloween 4 a lot growing up. Now, Halloween 4 is a pretty good sequel. I really enjoyed Halloween 4. It's a 5.9 on IMDb. That's a little bit too low. I wasn't really sure why it got that low of a rating. I still think it's a pretty good sequel. I don't think it's as good as the first three because the first three are all pretty much movies I don't have problems with. The first one is an absolute classic. It's an absolutely perfect horror film. Halloween 2 is a perfect sequel. Halloween 3 is a underrated, different, but yet in my opinion a very perfect horror film. I do realize that Halloween 3 doesn't have Michael Myers in it, but everything else in the movie made me really enjoy Halloween 3. I think Halloween 3 is a great horror film. I think it's very underrated, and it's a movie that I think is, in my opinion, I don't have any problems with it. I think it's a perfect, not perfect, but a pretty daggone close to being a flawless horror film. It's underrated. I pretty much like everything about the movie, the score, the acting, the story. So yeah, Halloween 3 is pretty underrated, but it's definitely a movie that I think is really good. Halloween 4 though really isn't. I don't think it's as good as the first three because there are a few things that I don't like. First of all, I'll get to the good things before I get to the bad things though. The good things though is that the movie goes by at an extremely fast pace. It has a great October feel to it. It was directed very well by Dwight H. Little, who has directed a couple other movies as well. He did a really good job directing this movie. It has a great October look and mood and feel to it. He is also the director of a lot of TV stuff, and he's also the director of Rapid Fire, as well as Free Willy 2, and did a couple of Freddy's Nightmares. Boy, did one episode of that. Then he did a movie called Bloodstone. Did a couple things, but I know they directed. It says here they directed Rapid Fire, which I haven't seen that movie yet. It says that he also directed Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, which it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But he's directed a lot of TV episodes like Sleepy Hollow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Arrow, From Dusk Till Dawn, the series. Directed 4 episodes of that. And his newest movie that he's making right now is called Last Rampage. But Dwight H. Little, I mean, he did a really good job making this movie. It has a great look to it, a great tone, a great feel, and it's really well done as far as directing goes. I mean, it's shot well, has a very good mood to it, and I think it's really well shot and really well directed by Dwight H. Little. The story I enjoy. I mean, it takes place 10 years later after the original film. It takes place from Laurie Strode's daughter, Jamie Lloyd, played by Danielle Harris, who would go on to be in the Halloween remake as a different character. I believe she was the Annie character in the Halloween remake. She's also been in stuff like Chrome Skull to Rest 2, Hatchet 2 and 3. Been in a lot of films. And she does a great job in these two films, Halloween 4 and 5. Even though I don't really like Halloween 5. It's got a lot of problems. I used to say that it was maybe okay, but honestly, it really, really isn't a good movie. There's a lot of problems with it. That was the first movie that we got the Thorn plot line. And I'm not a fan of that plot line at all. So, I mean, the movie, I mean, it, even though it has some good things, I'm just not a fan of Halloween 5. But I do feel like she did a great performance in Halloween 5. And she gave a great performance in this film. And like I said, I mean, just the character Rachel, who was played by Ellie Cornell, did a great job. Donald Pleasence makes his return as Dr. Loomis in this movie. Does a really good job in this movie. The thing about Michael Myers in this film. Now, the guy that played Michael Myers, he did a decent job. Decent job playing Michael Myers. I'll get to a couple of my problems now. Well, actually, I think I got a couple more things to name off. Another thing is, I think the score is pretty decent. It's not anything nearly as good as Halloween 1, 2, and 3, but I think it's pretty decent. The sort of atmospheric, trying to think of a good word to say, but it kind of like fades in. The score like fades in and it fades back out. Then you get a little bit of the Halloween thing, then it sort of fades out and it gets into this really, really cool sounding, just sort of faded sort of score. And it's done very well. Of course, the guy who did the score from the first three movies, Alan Howarth, had also done the scores for Halloween 4 and 5. Now, I don't think he did the score for Halloween 6, but I might be mistaken by that. I might be mistaken. But I'm not. Well, yeah, it says music by Alan Howarth. So, I mean, he did the score for Halloween 6. He might have done the score for Halloween 7. I don't know. It has a completely different score, but I'm not sure. But I know that he did the score for Halloween 4 and 5, and apparently he did the score for 6, which I didn't know that. He did a decent job with this score. I mean, the score is decent. Like I said, it's not anything as great as the first two movie scores. I do think it's not as good as the first three movies scores. Because I love all three of those. I love Halloween 1, 2, and 3's scores a lot. Really good. Here, it's decent. There's a couple things I like about it. I like how the score fades in and out. But it's not as good as the first three, but it's pretty decent. But let's see now. Directing, atmosphere, it's shot very well. I like the storyline taking place 10 years after the original movie. I like the fact that it is the return of Michael Myers. It took forever. It took a long time to get to this movie. 6 years to get to this movie. And we got Halloween 4, and it really is like the return of Michael Myers. And it just makes you think it would have been a very exciting time to go to the theaters and see Halloween 4 because it's a return back to the Michael Myers storyline. That's a very cool theme. And acting was pretty good. Characters are pretty good. Like Rachel, I really enjoyed Ellie Cornell's performance as Rachel. The Dr. Loomis character, Jamie Lloyd, good characters. And I think like I said, the music was pretty decent. But getting into a few of the problems. First of all, I'm not a fan of the way the mask looks in both of Halloween 4 and 5. 5, I don't honestly know which ones. I would say the Halloween 5 is the worst mask because it doesn't even look like a Michael Myers mask. I mean, Halloween 5's mask, it doesn't even look like a Michael Myers mask. It doesn't even look like Michael Myers like a Michael Myers mask at all. Here, it does look like a Michael Myers mask. Something about the way it looks like. I guess they couldn't. I'm not sure if it was because they couldn't use the whole Captain Kirk mask anymore, so they had to kind of change it around. So I think that's why it's different in this film. I'm not really sure. I'm just not a fan of the way the mask looks. I mean, you see a little bit of it on the back here. You see a little bit of it. Even the mask on the front cover, it looks better than the mask in the movie. At least that doesn't look like the mask from the movie. At least to me, it doesn't look like the mask from the movie. But that's the mask in the movie that he wears. Um, just not a fan of the way that it looks. To me, it kind of looks like it's a little too chubby. I don't know, like the way the mask looks is a little too chubby. It does not look good, or it's a little bit like, I don't know if it's chubby or if it just looks like it's squished, like this is squished, and then you get, I don't know, it looks kind of bad in this movie. Not as bad as Halloween 5, because in Halloween 5, also right there, you really can't even tell it's a Michael Myers mask. It looks awful in Halloween 5. But in this movie, it does look like Michael Myers mask, but it looks a little off. It looks off. I mean, it doesn't look that good. It looks really off. It looks like it was either puffed up or it was squished. I don't know. The mask looks really bad in this film. Also, the death scenes, there's not really a lot to the death scenes. I mean, I don't know if the MPAA got involved in this movie or not, but I know that around 1988, that was when the MPAA started cracking down on movies. Friday the 13th Part 7, Leatherface, Texas Massacre Part 3, which came out in the early 90s, like 1990. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, which sucks, but it would have had decent makeup effects if the MPAA didn't get involved in it. I don't really know if the MPAA got involved in this film, but the death scenes compared to Halloween 3 and 2, they're just not that good. And I do get it. Maybe it's just to go back to the suspense. And it does handle the suspense. That's one thing I forgot to mention. It does handle the suspense pretty well. But, you know, it still has death scenes in there. It still seems like it's trying to be a slasher flick. I mean, it has a body count in there. But the death scenes, they really aren't much. You really don't see much. There's a lot of cutting away. There's a lot of quick cuts and not really seeing a lot, not really knowing. Like, I don't know. I mean, it was just, it didn't seem like the death scenes, they didn't really have much to them. And even some of the ideas didn't have much to them. Now I'll get to the death scenes here in a second, but the body count, I mean, it does have a body count to it, but the death scenes just really aren't that well done. There's not really much of practical effects. In my opinion, there wasn't any like spectacular makeup effect in the film. And that's pretty much it. The makeup effects, they weren't really amazing. Not really amazing kills. I mean, it has a body count, but the kills really aren't good. The mask looks really bad in this film. Like, it looks awful. It doesn't look as bad as Halloween 5, but it still looks kind of awful. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I still enjoy the movie. It's just has a couple of problems, like the mask and not much to the death scenes, not much to the makeup effects. But that's about it. I mean, the rest of the movie I really enjoy. I mean, it's pretty much about, like I said, it's 10 years after the first movie. Takes place, I believe, after, I think because it does take place after part 2 because he's all burned up. And it is kind of weird how in Halloween 2, there's like a huge explosion. I mean, I'm not really sure how Dr. Loomis survived and Michael Myers survived, but you know, it was good seeing Donald Pleasence back in the Halloween franchise. Delivered a great performance. Some really cool lines they delivered. And you know, I like the fact that, you know, in this movie, you can tell it takes place after Halloween 2 because, you know, Dr. Loomis is all burned and Michael Myers is all burned. But it kind of is like, well, that was a huge explosion. I mean, would they survive that with just like burns? But I don't know. I mean, it's a little tiny problem. But it takes place after the first movie, 10 years later, and it follows the Jamie Lloyd character. And her mom was Laurie Strode, who had ended up dying, and pretty much Rachel is her sort of, I don't know, adopted sister. Or Jamie Lloyd is more of Rachel's adopted sister because Jamie Lloyd ends up going to a foster family. I believe it does take place in Haddonfield. And it's Halloween. Michael Myers, you find out that he's been held in this sort of mental hospital for 6 years. Or not, it takes place actually 10 years later, but he's been held for 10 years in this mental institute. While they're transporting him to a different hospital, he ends up escaping and pretty much goes back to Haddonfield, tries to find the Jamie Lloyd character. And from there on, it's pretty much about the Rachel and Jamie Lloyd character trying to survive this night, this horrifying night, and try to survive this night from Michael Myers. And that's pretty much the plot. I mean, it's very basic, very simple, but I love the fact that you get this feeling that it is the return of Michael Myers. Like when he came back in this film, I mean, the deaths aren't really that great, but I don't know, it really does feel like a return of Michael Myers. The tone, the atmosphere, the shots, the suspense, the classic feel. It really is the return of Michael Myers. And I really do enjoy that, how it really does make Michael Myers come back in a big way. Now, you get a couple of really good lines, and you get a couple of really good scenes. Like, you got the scene Michael Myers is in the hospital. I really enjoy the beginning of the movie. Even before it goes to the hospital, you see, like, shots, and they're really well done shots of cornfields and stuff like that, and farm equipment and Halloween decorations. And you hear sort of this fading in and out score that sounds really good. I will say that the beginning of the movie score was great, and it sort of fades in. It's like, and then when you see the Halloween 4 pop up, it goes like, but you can barely hear it, but it's very well done. For those who have seen the movie, you guys know what I'm talking about. The sort of ambient score. It's really well done. And then it, of course, leads up to the night that Michael Myers escapes. I mean, Michael Myers being transported and puts his thumb in this dude's forehead, which, I mean, I don't know, it was an okay effect, makeup effect. It wasn't anything great. Takes him, like, bashes his head against the ambulance's, the inside of the ambulance, busts his head in, like, the wall. Ends up crashing the ambulance, goes to this mechanic's place, this gas station, kills the mechanic, takes the jumpsuit. It's that great scene where Donald Pleasance, he's trying to figure out what's going on. He ends up telling him, like, if you transport Michael Myers, he will escape. And it's that great scene where he's like, look at that. He's like, I would not want to relive that night again. And then, pretty much he finds out that Michael Myers escaped, goes down, investigates it, goes to a gas station, finds dead bodies there, and it's that great scene where Michael Myers is standing in the kitchen, and he goes, why here? Why now, Michael? Gosh dang. He's like, God damn you, Michael. And he shoots, and then Michael Myers disappears. And that's another thing that's cool about this movie, is it definitely is returned the fact that, you get that sort of dark presence again in this film, because he shoots, he's gone. You don't know where he went. Goes out, he ended up getting a truck and driving it through the garage, and you get a couple of explosions. So it's definitely got some action to it as well. And you get another scene where Jamie Lloyd is in the Halloween store, and she gets a clown costume, and she sees the reflection of Michael Myers when he was a kid in a clown costume. Michael Myers pops out of nowhere. He gets the mask on, and she backs up and breaks the mirror, and Michael Myers sort of disappears. And you get a nice build up to the Halloween night. And the Rachel character, she's very likable. She is a strong lead, really good job by L.A. Cornell. Which she would also go on to be in Halloween 5, and she'd be killed off in Halloween 5, which is bullcrap. She'd go on to be in House of the Dead 1 and 2, and I don't really remember seeing her in other movies, but I do know that she was in House of the Dead and House of the Dead 2 and Halloween 5. But she did a great job in this movie. She's a strong lead. You know, another great scene where they all hide out in this house, Michael Myers ends up finding a way to get inside. He, that's where we get a couple death scenes, which we'll get to in a second. We get a couple death scenes, and that great scene where, Michael Myers' character, he's chasing after the Rachel and Jamie Lloyd character, and the character Brady, played by Sasha Jensen, he comes in and he's sort of, I don't know, I mean, he's sort of an unlikable character, cheats on Rachel, um, it doesn't, it's not really, he's not really a likable character, but, the acting wasn't horrible, it was just his character wasn't really that likable. I mean, he's cheating on the Rachel character, he tries to make up for it, but, he ends up trying to buy them some time for them to run. So, I mean, the acting wasn't bad. It was just, the character wasn't a great character because, he's not a really likable character. But you get that scene where Michael Myers is walking up the stairs. He's like, "Get up there, Rachel!" Loading the shotgun. Michael Myers grabs the shotgun, hits him in the head, throws a shotgun over the railing, squeezes his head. You don't really see much, but, squeezes his head. You get the sound effects of, the bones and stuff cracking. You get that rooftop scene, which is really well done, where Jamie Lloyd and the Rachel characters on top of the roof. Michael Myers is climbing on top of the roof trying to get them. And from what I've heard, Ellie Cornell actually cut her stomach a little bit during that scene. But really suspenseful. Ellie Cornell, she makes sure that Jamie Lloyd is safe. She, makes sure that she lowers Jamie Lloyd to the ground. Makes sure that she's safe. And Rachel ends up, pretty much Michael Myers is close to her and tries to stab her, and she falls off the edge of the house, and she's hanging on the edge, and then she falls off. You think that she's dead, but she has to come back towards the end of the movie. You got this scene in the school, the elementary school scene, where Jamie Lloyd is in the school with Donald Pleasence because he ends up meeting up with the Jamie Lloyd character. They just walk around the town. They go into the school. That scene, Michael Myers pops out with, I always thought it was blonde hair. I have no clue why this happened, but in the movie, you look, Michael Myers pops out of nowhere with blonde hair. I think I heard that there was something on, something happened to the mask and they couldn't replace it, or maybe it was the lighting. I don't know, but it's bright blonde hair. Comes out and throws Donald Pleasence out a window. Jamie Lloyd's being chased, and she even falls down the stairs. And then the Rachel character comes in with a fire extinguisher, sprays Michael Myers. They get out of there. They go on these trucks because the whole town's going on lockdown, and they got these people sort of becoming their own law. They're out there, looking for Michael Myers. And even the leader of the group, his, I think, son died on the original, either the original Halloween or Halloween 2, I can't remember. But I know that his son died in the original, either the original film or the second film, I can't remember. But they end up driving on the road. That great scene on the road. Michael Myers is on the truck and stabs a couple people, throws a couple people off. And that's the one death scene that I liked, and it was a pretty good makeup effect. And that's where Michael Myers busts through the window, takes a guy right here, and just rips it. You see muscle and everything, and it's a really gory death scene. And pretty much got that great scene where the score builds, da 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 da. Rachel is driving the car. She stops the brake. Michael Myers' face hits the freaking windshield. Then she keeps driving, stomps again. And then, he flies off. They hit him. He goes into a graveyard. The cops come. They shoot him all away. He falls back and falls into what you found on Halloween 5 to be a mine shaft. And then in this movie, they think it's, you think he's dead. You think it's all over. And he got a pretty creepy ending. I will say this movie has a really good creepy ending. Really well done. Really creepy. Really interesting idea. It's creepy. Where Jamie Lloyd, you find out that she touched Michael Myers' hand. So in a way, you get this sort of sense that darkness went from Michael Myers and Jamie Lloyd, and Jamie Lloyd ends up the first movie. You get the POV shot. The mask comes down. She goes into the bathroom and stabs her mom. You don't see it off screen. It's very suspenseful because you're wondering what happened. Dr. Loomis comes over to the stairs, looks up. That great delivery by Donald Pleasence. He did a great job in this scene where he's no, no, no. Great job. It was really well done. You know, you see Jamie Lloyd character, she's covered in blood, and the score just kicks in. It's like da 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 da, and you just see, you know, her holding a pair of scissors like this, and and then and she got like the dark eyes, the devil's eyes, and then the movie ends. But it's a really well done scene where he goes over, he's like, no, no, no. He even pulls out a gun, tries to shoot her, and they stop him before they take the gun away before he shoots her. And really well done scene, really well done performance of Donald Pleasance, and that's basically the end of the movie. So yeah, I mean Halloween 4. Actually, I forgot to mention the death scenes real fast. A couple of them were kind of basic. I mean, you got this one scene where he goes to the mechanic, grabs like a steel pipe, and stabs him with it. He pretty much takes this cup. It's off screen, but the way they reveal it is pretty creepy. Where he pretty much broke him all up, and his arms over his head and everything. Really creepy scene. I got that scene where the character Bucky, he's like, all right, you stay right there. I'm going to go call the police. And Michael Myers just grabs him, throws him into those electrical equipment, throws him into the power line and stuff like that. And he gets shocked to death. Not really anything much to death scene, but the idea is pretty decent. That great scene where Michael Myers takes a shotgun and just, impales the girl and sticks her to the door. He really crushes the Sausage Jensen character's head. The Brady character, he gets his head crushed. And of course the death scenes at the end of the movie where the people are getting stabbed and the guy gets his freaking neck ripped off. Pretty crazy death scene. But the death scenes, I mean, they're okay. I mean, they're alright. There's not much of the makeup effects though, and it felt kind of tame. So I don't know if it was the MPAA or I don't know if it was on purpose. I'm not sure, but it did feel kind of tame on the kills and the effects and makeup effects, stuff like that. But besides the really weird looking mask and the not much of the makeup effects and the really tame, really tame death scenes and not really much of the makeup effects. Besides those scenes, the rest of the movie is great. I still enjoy the story. I enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoy the direction. The score was decent. Altogether, it's a pretty good film. Really good sequel. I really enjoyed it. So, hey guys, thanks for watching my review on Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers, and I will see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.